Help, the house is on fire. At 4 a.m., a sudden call came from my 6-year-old granddaughter.
Ask Mom for help right away.
On the other end of the phone, I was desperately yelling to my granddaughter. Dad hit Mom and she hasn't woken up. I was shocked by the horrifying words that came out of her mouth and rushed over in my car. There, an unbelievable scene unfolded.
Oh no!
I was at a loss for words at the worst possible scenario and collapsed to my knees. At the same time, an uncontrollable anger towards my son-in-law surged within me. My daughter Amy had always been shy and timid since she was little. She was always hiding behind me or my husband. I was deeply moved seeing such Amy walk down the aisle with her father. The man Amy chose to marry was David, a colleague from her company, 4 years older than her. Unlike Amy, he was decisive and a leading presence, she had said. That was when he came to our house to introduce himself for the marriage. Nice to meet you, I've been dating Amy and I promise to make her happy. Could you please give us your blessing to marry? Despite his nervous appearance, his clear declaration left my husband and I with a favorable impression, and we agreed to the marriage. I never imagined my reserved daughter would introduce a man to us. Though I felt a bit sad, I was more than happy that Amy had chosen someone on her own. You found a wonderful person. Yes, thank you. I need to work hard too, to support him properly. Feeling her strong determination in her words, I was just amazed at her positive change in attitude. At David's insistence, Amy quit her job to become a full-time homemaker after their marriage. The two bought a second-hand house and started their married life. David was saying, "Wouldn't it be nice if your parents joined us for dinner this Sunday? Is that okay? Aren't you tired from work?" "Yeah, it's fine. We're family after all," and he said he wants us to feel comfortable without any formalities. We started having meals together more often, taking advantage of the couple's hospitality, but I could feel David's harshness towards Amy every time. It was when Amy had planned to cook dinner but ended up ruining it.
Why would you make such a simple mistake? Anyone can do it if they just follow the recipe. Can't you even understand what's written?
I'm sorry. David raised his voice, and Amy looked terribly sad and bowed her head. What's wrong? Are you okay? I'm sorry, Mom. It seems Amy made a blunder. Oh dear, that's okay. I'll help Amy out. Why don't you keep David company? But I feel bad about that. My husband gestured for our son-in-law to join him, and they ended up sharing a drink together, smoothing over the situation. Mom. I'm sorry for the trouble, even though you came all this way. It's okay. Everyone makes mistakes, and the more you do, the fewer mistakes you'll make. I tried to encourage Amy, but seeing my daughter being spoken to so harshly in front of me was still heartbreaking as a parent. I regretted that if I had taught her more things, maybe both she and I wouldn't have to feel so sad. A few months later, we received wonderful news that the couple was expecting a baby. Amy lovingly stroked her barely swollen belly, with David attentively caring for her. Watching the two of them, I thought this is how they gradually become a couple and then a family. With you visiting, Amy feels reassured, and it helps me stay motivated at work. Not only during the pregnancy but also after the birth, I occasionally visited my daughter and son-in-law's home to support Amy. Of course, a big reason was that I could meet my adorable first grandchild. However, about 6 months after my granddaughter Shelley was born, I noticed a change in my son-in-law David's behavior, which I thought had settled down.
Make Shelley stop crying now. You're failing as a mother if you can't even do that.
Frustrated with the fussy child, David yelled with an intensity one had never seen before. But yelling only made the baby cry more. I tried to speak in a calm tone, trying to reason with my son-in-law. David, please calm down. Shelley will be scared too. I know it's exhausting to come home from work to a crying child, but still.
Don't coddle Amy too much.
He interjected harshly, even directing his sharp words at me in the middle of our conversation. And with that, he walked out of the room. Mom, I'm sorry for making you feel uncomfortable. I'm fine, but is he always like this? It seems he's been really tired lately. David might be habitually yelling at Amy. It was heartbreaking to see Amy's sad face as she tried to downplay the situation. Since then, I haven't seen David at my daughter's home anymore. Maybe I interfered too much. Such worries crossed my mind, and I was concerned about my daughter becoming increasingly listless day by day. What's wrong? Do you have something on your mind? Nothing's wrong, I'm fine. No matter how many times I asked, Amy would just repeat that, refusing to talk about it, and she gradually became more withdrawn. I wonder if she's just exhausted from parenting. When I felt I should pay more attention, I was summoned because she wanted to talk, and I went to see her. Mom, I'd rather you didn't come to the house anymore. Why would you say something like that all of a sudden? I was honestly shocked by her words. I think I can't become a proper mother if I keep relying on you. That's not true. It's not bad to rely on someone if they are willing to help. I tried to explain, but Amy wouldn't nod in agreement. All right, but if you ever have any trouble, don't hesitate to tell me. Thank you, Mom. Bring Shelley over to play sometimes, okay? Though I was left with concerns, I thought maybe this was part of parenting, and I decided to watch over Amy. As promised, she occasionally brought the child to visit, but I was still worried about Amy's lack of energy. She would only say she was fine whenever I asked, and I was at a loss for what to do. As Shelley started kindergarten, our chances to meet decreased, and by the time she was 6 and busy, visits became almost non-existent. Then, one day at around 4 a.m., the ringing of my cell phone echoed throughout the room. Who could it be at this early hour? Groggy, I picked up my smartphone, and Amy's name was on the screen. Hello? What's going on at this hour?
Grandma, help! The house is on fire!
Instead of my daughter, it was my granddaughter's voice on the other end, sounding like she was about to cry.
Shelley! What about your mom? Ask her for help right away!
My blood ran cold as I yelled desperately to Shelley. Dad hit her, and she hasn't woken up.
What do you mean? What's going on?
Having held it in for so long, my granddaughter began to cry loudly.
It's okay. I'm coming right now. Just get outside the house immediately.
I called 911, requested fire trucks and ambulances, and then my husband and I rushed to my daughter's house in our car. This can't be happening. Upon arrival, a horrific scene beyond imagination confronted us. The fire had spread far worse than I had feared, and I was utterly speechless and stunned. As firefighters battled the flames, I felt helpless and collapsed to my knees in shock. As my husband supported me, Amy was brought out on a stretcher.
Amy! Amy!
Following her, my granddaughter, carried by paramedics, appeared.
Grandma!
Noticing me, she immediately ran over and hugged me. I was so scared. Yes, but it's good you're safe. I hugged Shelley with all my might. Then, I also joined them in the ambulance that carried my granddaughter and daughter. Fortunately, because Shelley had been outside, she only suffered minor burns on her hands and was not seriously harmed. However, Amy was unconscious and taken straight to the ICU. The doctor told me with a serious look, "You need to be prepared," and I could not hide my agitation. But knowing I must not upset my granddaughter, I tried to stay strong and acted bravely. I kept calling my son-in-law, but it only rang without any sign of connection. Where is David and what is he doing? Thinking I should try calling again later, I first decided to hear the story from Shelley. Can you tell me what happened with Mom and Dad? Yes. I woke up to Mom saying stop it and Dad yelling loudly. Shelley said she went to the room where she heard their voices and saw David hitting Amy, and then he left somewhere. Worried about Mom, she entered the room after Dad had gone. Mom told me to give this teddy bear to Grandma. She pointed at a stuffed animal on the shelf, and she also handed her cell phone to Shelley. I was by Mom's side the whole time, but then I started smelling something strange, and when I went to check, there was a fire. Shelley immediately went back to the room where her mom was, but no matter how much she called out, Amy wouldn't wake up, and not knowing what to do, she called me. So that's what happened. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah. Hey, Grandma, do you think Mom will be okay? The doctors are doing their best, so she'll be okay. After reassuring her with gentle words, I took the stuffed animal Shelley entrusted to me. Is there something inside? I felt an odd weight and noticed a seam that seemed to have been stitched up later. When I pried it open, I found a letter from my daughter along with another item. Why would this be in here? Just as I was wondering about this, I received a callback from my son-in-law. What's going on so early in the morning? Your house caught fire, and Amy and Shelley have been taken to the hospital. The doctor said their lives might be in danger. Is that so? I've been on a business trip out of state since yesterday. I won't be able to return until late tonight. His reaction was neither particularly surprised nor concerned about his wife and child, and he didn't ask anything further. He's even lying, what is he thinking? After hanging up, I felt an overwhelming anger rise within me. David's story contradicted Shelley's, filling me with distrust towards him. Since Shelley was also admitted to the hospital for her burns, just to be safe, and there was something I had to verify, I left the hospital and hurried to my daughter's house. It was this bad, huh? The house was half burned, with only the garage and its surroundings left unburned. I hope everything is okay. After reading my daughter's letter, I was searching the burned remains for a specific purpose. I finally found the answer and was certain of it. At the same time, my phone rang, and I decided to rush back to the hospital. I will never forgive him. I will make him pay. I swore in my heart and, shaking with anger, decided to take revenge on my son-in-law. Late that night, David arrived at our house with a somber look. After returning home, I had contacted him saying, Amy has passed away, and we need to discuss what happens next. Where is Amy? She's not here. Shelley is in the hospital receiving treatment for her burns. Is that so? My son-in-law nodded without changing his expression, making it impossible to read what he was thinking. We've taken care of all the arrangements. I'm sorry we didn't consult you and decided everything on our own. No, I'm sorry for leaving it all up to you. Thank you. Did he feel a bit guilty? He apologized to me. I can't seem to organize my feelings because of the suddenness, so I'd like to leave the funeral and all subsequent arrangements to you. Isn't that a bit unusual? If I don't keep myself busy with work, I might not be able to cope with the shock. He remained looking down, then suddenly stood up and started walking towards the entrance. I won't let it end here. At that moment, I took my daughter's letter from my pocket. If you are reading this now, Mom, it means I am no longer in this world. I'm sorry for always causing you worry. As I began reading with a trembling voice, David stopped in his tracks. Is that a suicide note? Don't tell me my wife set the fire herself?
She's not that weak. Just listen to the end.
But this content is... Ignoring David's discontent, I confronted him with my daughter's words. It's all because of my husband. What? Why? That's impossible. Amy trying to frame me at the end. No sooner had he loudly denied it than he began sniffling and pretending to cry. Can you still make excuses after seeing this? I opened the laptop I had placed nearby and showed the screen to my son-in-law. This is... His expression lost words and rapidly turned pale. What was displayed was a scene of him bringing another woman into the house and cheating. Why do you have this? Amy hid this camera inside the living room's stuffed animal. I presented the mini camera right in front of his eyes. Why would she do something like this? David revealed his anger and slammed his fist on the table. Amy's letter mentioned that she suspected he might be cheating while she was away and was worried about his actions. Suspecting David, who had become cold and stayed away from home since their child was born, Amy had gone to great lengths to prove it. What the hell is this all about? Frustrated or cornered, David muttered as he started to leave the room. Where are you going? We're not done here. Is there more? I've had enough. David sighed heavily, looking exasperated. David, it says here you became so preoccupied with your affair that you found me in the way and started hitting me regularly. Is that what it says? Without any proof, you're going to start this again. Let's just end this, mother-in-law.
But there is proof. And there's no way we can just let this end.
I slammed the video evidence back in front of my son-in-law. Could you please explain what this is all about now? Damn. Feeling cornered, he picked up the laptop and in a burst of anger, threw it forcefully to the floor. What are you doing? If you had just kept quiet and listened to me, none of this would have happened. Ever since the child was born, she started expressing her opinions more and more. What's wrong with that?
She kept trying to make me take care of the child too. It's annoying. I work outside. Childcare should be a woman's job.
David clearly had some rigid ideas. However, that is no excuse for raising his hand. Amy was indeed a quiet girl. But she was trying to change, especially after our precious Shelley was born, wasn't she? I didn't want any of that from her. If she had just remained obedient, I wouldn't have had to cheat or hit her. My son-in-law showed no remorse, and finally, he became defiant. Well, Amy is gone now, so it's all over, isn't it? It's not over at all. Shelley said that right before the fire, you hit her and left the house. A child's word isn't reliable. He smirked and sneered, dismissing her words. Besides, I was on a business trip since the day before, so it's impossible for that to be true. He was confident, trying to dismiss Shelley's testimony as if it never happened. Then why are you in this video here if you were supposed to be on a business trip? I pulled out my smartphone and thrust the video at David. Just as Shelley had said, there he was, hitting Amy right before the fire. The fire department said the cause of the fire might be arson. Did you do it?
I don't know anything about that.
Oh really? Then what's this? David was taken aback by the mounting evidence. Just after he ran outside, the video clearly captured the fire starting. Why is even this still here? Amy had secretly installed a camera in the garage too. It's a good thing that place didn't burn down. Amy's actions were aimed at capturing the decisive moment of infidelity, but David never imagined that his crimes would be exposed in such a way. I'm taking this to the police.
Wait. I won't let you do that.
He lunged at me with a terrifying face, trying to snatch the smartphone from my hands.
Stop it. I'm telling you to stop.
He overpowered me and mounted me, attempting to strike me.
Stop it, now.
At that moment, my husband, who had been recording everything from the next room, intervened.
Stop it, old man. Let go of me.
David was easily restrained by my husband, unable to move. I had it from Amy. I handed him a piece of paper that I had in my bag. What? What does this mean? You mean she is? David was confused. It was understandable, as what I handed him was a divorce paper filled out in Amy's section. In fact, thanks to the doctor's efforts, Amy had managed to survive. The call to collect the camera from the garage was to inform me of that. You can lie that your own daughter is dead, huh? Now understanding everything, David raised his voice. I never said she was dead. What's gone is the timid Amy who couldn't say anything. What? So, what was all that arrangement you made? Wasn't it about her funeral?
No, that was about the move for Amy and the kids. You're kidding me, lying to me.
As David struggled to free his arm still held by my husband, he began to thrash about. Oh, and she said she'd file a police report. With the arson added, the charges will be quite heavy, won't they? Upon hearing this, David clutched his head and suddenly changed his attitude, pleading with me.
Please stop. It's all over if you do that. Aren't we a family? And Amy and Shelley are safe. You're not family. Someone who does such low things deserves to be in hell.
With those final words from me, David stood there in a daze. Later, I submitted all the evidence to the police, and David was arrested. He was charged with serious offenses, and I heard he would be spending a good while behind bars. The divorce between Amy and him was finalized. For mental anguish and medical expenses, he was ordered to pay $80,000 and $70,000 in a lump sum for child support, totaling $150,000. The affair partner was sued for $10,000. All expenses were covered by David's parents. They said they would make him repay once he's out, but after that, they planned to disown him. Amy took some time but eventually was discharged safely and moved in with me and her daughter. Watching Amy and Shelley gradually regain their strength, I am committed to supporting their happiness moving forward.